Good old BFR day. Right now, every lower body day is BFR day. These are the B3 brand, one we sell on online. Coach Cassie, Cassandra on our team tried to get me going on this a long time ago. I was kind of like, whatever. Until I tore a tricep and she helped me rehab it. And the tricep was literally, no other variables was I doing at the time. The tricep was literally half the time to recovery than it normally was. So that opened my eyes a lot. She was trying to get me to use it, so she gets all the credit for this anyways. Well, Duffin will get a little bit too, but she wanted me to start warming up with it and using it for just a priming movement on my regular days. Like, put this on, hit your BFR squats, and then go do your regular squats. Of course, movement prep and other stuff, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. I really liked it in the off season to speed up my accessories. So say a heavy day of upper body, afterwards, after bench pressing and whatever, rowing heavy, I might have, you know, an hour still worth to do after I've been here for quite some time. And I could knock that hour worth of accessory exercises heavy and hard into 20 minutes of super hard work. Awesome for adding a third day. So for example, we've got, you know, Jason over here in the corner, one of our stronger athletes. If I had him squatting and deadlifting 3 times a week, I would probably break him, heavy anyways. And we would need to work up to that. But if he was already squatting and deadlifting twice a week, moderately heavy and heavy on one, and recovering from that, again, adding a third might just break him down. If I had him squatting 135 pounds, that's probably not enough stimulus to really do anything. It's not even enough stimulus to really do technique because it's so far away from his top squat. But we could do 135 with BFR on, and it would actually be a very challenging session. So it allows us to get more work done, recover in a shorter amount of time from injuries, as well as warm-ups. And the last thing that really got me on it was when Duffin was working up in his 1,000-pound squat for a triple challenge that he did, and I was asking about something afterwards. He was like, "You don't remember me warming up with BFR every day?" And I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. So then I'm like, well, if the big guy's gonna do it, well then, Cassie proved it to me, and if the big guy does it all the time, I better do it. That's kind of my quick spiel about BFR. I think every lifter should have a set in their bag for one or all of those reasons. Now, disc herniation happened. Couldn't walk for 2 weeks, let alone do other stuff. I probably could load my spine now, but we're choosing not to. Signs say that I probably shouldn't. If I was a knucklehead, I would. But this allows me to train my quads, hamstrings, calves, whatever we're doing, at a very high intensity without putting a bunch of load on my back. So I'm grateful that I didn't have to order them because they were already sitting in my bag when I needed them. That being said, let's get to work. So typically go with, I was just talking with our intern, actually, about this movement. Typically would go with like a 2-2-2 tempo, but I feel weak enough with some of my movements. I don't want to make myself feel any weaker. It hurts my pride right now. So I'm just kind of moving or just kind of cruising. Still getting that benefit. If you haven't done it, or if you watch Duffin do it and wondering why he looks like he's trying so hard with such little weight, especially on the kratos, you go ahead and get yourself a pair of BFR cups, strap it on. Tell me what you think about it by the time you're done. Ugh. So we're going to start farther away from the compound movement. As you can see, short rest period, we knock out calves first. Then I'm going to jump over and hit quad extension hamstring curl. Talk about that specifically for my spine, and then we're going to go into squats. If this was an upper body day and I'd already bench press and I was doing arms, I could probably go right to 4 sets of 10 or to failure. But because I haven't used my legs yet today in an exercise standpoint, the glycogen stores, the metabolic products, they're going to be fuller in my legs and in my muscles. So we do a little bit of higher reps and then go, like a good protocol would be 30 reps, 20 reps. If you had already hit, again, using the upper body example, I could just go right to 4 sets of 10 because I've already pre-fatigued. We've already used up some of the glycogen stores and other things. My only complaint about BFR training is you've got to learn to love that burn and pushing through that lactic acid threshold, because you hit it way sooner and way harder than you would any other way. So these are still a big challenge for me, and I can't add load because I can barely do 5 to 10. I don't even know if I've got to 10 yet. I haven't. 9 is my best. Calf raises, single leg on the affected side. Where on the left leg, I can jump, I can bound. I could probably do 50, single leg calf raises. So I'm stuck to a little assistance and going with both legs. Let's go get some hamstrings and some quads. So earlier training videos of me doing BFR with this injury was literally standing with a tiny band tied behind me, just getting a squeeze in my quad. And that was really hard when I went to this leg because I couldn't support myself because my calf and foot had so much nerve issues. So I had to hold on to a shoulder rock. It was frustrating. It was super frustrating. One day I was like, well, I'll be able to just come over here. The problem is, I can still demonstrate this. Not that I'm super mobile, but, right, no problem. Straighten my leg here, right there. Nerve pain, nerve problems, shuts me down. So I can't sit like at my desk or in the truck and straighten my leg all the way without nerve pain. So first day I got in the quad extension hamstring curl, I was like, oh, I got this. No, I was doing like this far of a quad extension with BFR and a little bit farther hamstring, and I got mad and threw some shit across the gym. It was frustrating because I couldn't even, it's not the weight, I couldn't even sit in the machine to do the movement. So I found now that, you'll see I put the seat way back. If I sit way back, I may not be able to get complete full extension, but I'm getting closer to a full range of motion. I also have that pinned back a little bit to give me better room. And I think it's that little baby third plate that gets me every time. We'll see what we can do. Quads are currently the least affected from this disc and nerve injury. I still feel way weaker on this side than the left. You will get distal effect. So the interesting thing with BFR, like my glutes when we go to squat, will get a benefit from the load we're using and the blood flow restriction. If I just occluded arms, because I can't obviously occlude my pec, and then I did push-ups, flies, dumbbell bench, see Duffin doing a lot of Q-bell flies, I would have a great effect on the pecs. So it's interesting stuff to me because it's not just everything downstream, it will take effect upstream. It's funny, every time I think I'm gonna go up, I almost got cocky and said, oh, maybe we can go up a plate today. About halfway through set number 2. Nope. That's not what we're gonna do today. We might actually be able to go up a little bit. We might get it today. We're gonna do it. We're gonna graduate. Little baby 4th plate. I think pre-injury, I probably could have done sets of 20 after squats with half the stack on a single leg. So that doesn't highlight, and I don't say that to highlight how weak I am post-injury. It's the nice thing about BFR, all the other reasons we said, I can get the intensity of that. I'm not faking how hard these sets are. They suck. I can get the intensity with minimal load. So let's say it was a knee issue, and my knee was just painful with heavier load. I could throw BFR on, get great stimulus through the quads, but not beat the shit out of my knee more. For me, in this case, obviously, I get some stimulus, but I'm not beating up my back anymore. Hamstrings, squats. So this is another one that is really frustrating because I can't extend my leg, thank you, in full position. So I've got to take all the precautions to get as extended as possible. If we had a lying quad extension hamstring curl machine, probably be a lot better for me, but we don't have a lot of machines here at Kabuki, so got to make do with what we got. That's why originally I went straight to a banded version standing, because this just wasn't happening even a month ago. I think I've only been able to sit in here and do this for 2 weeks now. It's an interesting one, like the calf. There they feel pretty similar. Holding that pause, left leg's I got this all day long. Right leg says, nope. Can barely hold in range of motion. And I'm sure the left leg is taking over a ton for it. When we cover long-term plan with Coach Alex, our Kabuki coach, the coach on our roster currently do my programming, we can talk about why we chose not to go single leg right away. A lot of times we as coaches, or you might even be watching this thinking, well, the left leg's weaker, why aren't you attacking that by itself? We have a reason, I promise. I'm not telling you either, you gotta watch the next episode. One of the big reasons is, I want my left leg, right leg, sorry, whichever one, the fucked up one. I want it to be the limiter of movement. If I go single leg, my right leg's probably gonna adapt way quicker and get stronger and further that gap. And I know myself, I will push my left leg harder because I can. The only smart way to limit that, right, is I start with the right leg, and if it can only do 12 reps with 10 pounds, well, that's what the other one has to do. I cannot do standing calf raises for very many reps. Not enough reps to get stimulus from BFR with 2 legs. And it's more gastroc that's affected. I still have trouble contracting it all the way. We don't have a seated calf raise, but if we did, I would suspect that I would be stronger seated than standing in calf raise. It's humbling though, I'll tell you. I used to like BFR when I used it as an addition to my heavy training. It's frustrating. But at least I get to work as hard at something. And I can walk into the gym by myself. Others aren't so fortunate. I'm blessed to have another training day. Injuries can get me depressed, make me very frustrated. They always have been. And I don't like hearing other athletes say stupid shit when they're healthy, so it frustrates me. So being a leader of our community and the greater community with all of the reach that we have with our coaching services and the people we know, the last thing I want to do is sit here and complain all the time about, well, I can't squat and I can't do this. Yeah, well, some people couldn't actually squat. They can't go to the gym because they've lost both legs, or they're on their deathbed, or they're battling illnesses, or just recovered from surgery. I still get to walk up to this machine, and I'm blessed to put that little 45-pound plug in there. Every training session, it's not that easy. But I got to remind myself of that. I have friends, I have clients in more challenging situations than I'm in. And it's cool as a coach when you can be inspired by the community around you and your own athletes. Because we do so much of that ourselves. Be the inspiration, be the constant motivation. But some of them are a hell of a lot stronger than I am. And right now, I'm not just talking physically, I'm talking mentally. Then, let's go get some quads and squats or something. I am trying to be a little more quad dominant. This is just a variation I added in. Alex and Dr. Snell don't have too much care or concern for how I'm doing. I'm not trying to rebuild my squat. I'm not trying to keep my squat strength. I'm trying to get the muscles to contract, nervous system to work better, trying to give them some good blood flow, working with our coach Brandon Morgan on smarter choices to keep weight on. Well shit, now I can't squat, I can't deadlift. I'm thinking my core is gonna shrink up a little bit. My erectors are definitely gonna lose size. Not trying to sound all vain, this is just the crazy thought process that goes through my head. Like when I finally get a bar on my back, my torso is gonna be weak. That's just a fact of not squatting and deadlifting heavy. Like those supporting musculature, they're gonna get smaller and definitely weaker. So because I felt like my quads were shrinking away more than the rest of my legs, I decided to switch to this high heels elevated, which I don't really train like this ever. I'm a flat guy, always have been, wider stance, but this really smokes my quads. And being very cognizant of my spinal position, I can get to a deeper squat with better spinal position, trying to be very smart to the way I load and move that disc, even if it's just my resistance for load or what we've graduated up to 25-pound plate. So again, this was just kind of my creation. I also got tired of just doing slow tempo body squats. It reminded me of my normal squat too much. And then I got sad thinking about how little I'm squatting and how weak it feels compared to where I used to be. I don't have that same problem with deadlifts yet. Fuck. Because I'm not deadlifting. 3 more sets. About 20 minutes start to stop.
Where are your spare keys? I'm locked out of my office.
Looks like you're gonna be locked out for a little bit. For me, there's more than just this mind connection to the muscle here too. Sometimes I'll be working positional stuff, checking my brace with my other hand, being very mindful of the best squat mechanics, even that little correction in my head. It's probably not necessary for a BFR squat, right? But I want to be a better squatter when I do get a bar on my back. 2 more times. Even though the weight's annoying, it is really nice to feel like I can work hard against something. It's a challenging concept for a fairly strong lifter, especially if you haven't done it before. I can't change my thought process to pretend that's a 500-pound squat. Most of our front squat was 500. And that was different. It wasn't that hard. It's hard in its own right. So I can't pretend that it's more weight. But I can't lie about how hard those last squats were to stand up. So I get to work against that effort that at least makes me think I'm slightly successful. Ooh, that was rough. And just like that, we're off. We put them in a box, a little tiny box, and we're going home. It's like the best mini gym in a bag ever. It's the other reason I tell clients to get these. You go on vacation, you should take some time away from the gym probably. Or you travel a lot like we have to sometimes for Kabuki. I always have these, so at least I can train the muscles hard. Maybe I can't train that movement.
What does it feel like when you take those off?
Oh, wonderful. Like legs are still tired, but you get that big rush of blood. It just feels great. So we haven't highlighted much yet. You know, they're just starting to talk about these, some training longs, but I've heard Duffin talk about it at our seminars or other place. It really does take a team. That's what I love about our team here. I was with Dr. Snell this morning. I talked with our head coach, Brandon. Coach Alex is doing my training. I have inspiration from Joe's last injury that he overcame. I've had Brandon helping me with Morgan with some nutritional stuff to keep me on point. So we have this great team in front of us. Why not? If you're ever interested in joining that team, currently we have a nice 2-week free trial. So see what it's like to come train with one of the best teams in the world. I mean, they both burned like fire, but this one, you can see that first step, like it wasn't my calf this time, it was the quad wanted to give out. Woo.